and welcome to a action-packed episode of the In 90 Minutes podcast. I'm your host Ahmed Salim. Alongside me is the merry band of Orlando City fans: David Valentin, John Widner, and Misael Rosa. I hope you are all sitting down for this because we have an action-packed episode for you. Since we've last met, I think I've lost track. I had like one notepad. I had like two notepads. I just lost track of everything we have to talk about tonight. But there is definitely a lot going on around the league, around the other leagues, the soccer community. So much to talk about. But before we do that, please, 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 we are trying to hit that 500 follower mark on our YouTube page. So please follow, like, and subscribe and help us get the word out. We are looking into possibly trying to do a giveaway of some type if we can. So keep an eye out for that. And gentlemen, how's everybody doing on this fabulous game day 9 week? That's what it was? Game day 9 this past week.
Yes, doing great. First of all, I hope all our Christian friends had a good Easter and our Jewish friends had a great Passover week. Um, there's so much to talk about. I will keep my pleasantries to the minimum because I don't want to reach the 11th o'clock hour. So like once again, as you can see, still in enemy behind enemy lines. My last week of training here in Fort Lauderdale, and then I get to go home. So my apologies once again. I don't have the microphone with me. So that's that, gentlemen.
Yes. All right. So let's kick it off. Let's start out with our OCB. So OCB played. Honestly, I have to ask everybody on here because I've watched so much soccer since this past Wednesday. I've lost track of what was when. So OCB's last game was against Inter Miami, our neighbors to the south, and they fell 3-2. So they were not successful against the pink
They were
people.
depleted because
Yeah.
most of the talent was either with the first team or at the Generation Adidas Cup. So
Ruin it,
let's make
David.
excuses.
Don't ruin it, David. Don't ruin it yet. But it was an amazing effort. We were all watching it. It was a great match. It was just an unfortunate result for the boys.
Mhm.
Anybody have any thoughts on the game overall?
Yeah, I thought the boys played well. Miami hit two, you know, two incredible goals that from outside the box. That really, especially the third one, that dude probably will not do that again this year. If he does, why is he playing on their B team? It was, great bit of individual skill, great strike on the ball, great placement of the shot, amazing power on it. Nothing the keeper could do about it. Just boys got kind of unlucky. Could have had a second penalty in there in stoppage time to potentially tie it up. But we know how the sport is. You get one penalty, you're probably not going to see a second one unless it's absolutely egregious. And they just got a little unlucky. Kind of did what they had to do, and we go forward.
Yeah, Misael.
I actually didn't watch the game, so
Okay,
I can't touch
all
on that.
good, all good. All right, moving on to the Pride. The Pride this past Saturday, April 19th, they took on the Washington Spirit, and as we've always said, all good things come to an end, and our opening streak for the Pride has done so. We still wish them the best of luck, but they did um, encounter their first addition to the L column, which they had not had yet. So they currently sit in second place, right behind the Kansas City Current. Um, Thoughts of this game, gents?
This was a rematch from the championship game. Ever since Magic Johnson um, took part ownership of that team, they've been just flying high, and they got us. We were dominating the first half. It was pretty good. Couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. Second half had a couple goals. One was called offside. The other one, uh, VAR.
Misael, your mic.
Okay, that cut off my time, but I watched the game, man. Honestly, you guys know I know the last two could have done the rest. I felt like it was an absolute screw job by the officiating. They did not emphasize the game. Not saying, the outside that felt was correct. Just, I thought it was completely one-sided. I thought they didn't touch a big when it came to calls. Played a big
Hey,
match.
hey, John. I'm sorry. I think your mic is John's mic coming through super scrambled for anybody, or is it just me?
Yeah, there's problems with the audio there.
Yeah. John, if you could check that out while we just talk about that. But you know what? I mean, listen, Misael, to your point, if you're gonna lose to somebody,
Who's
I,
Mike?
I I just muted John. It must be John's.
Okay,
I
so
muted
it's not
John.
Misael. It's not you.
No, it's not. It's not. I
Okay,
thought it was him at first because it happened when he was talking, but I think it's
correct.
John's. But anyway, what I was gonna say while John's figuring that out, it's like, you know what? If you're gonna lose to somebody, at least it's the somebody that you played in the final of the championship, right? So, if there was a team to lose to, um, I guess that's the one to lose to. Right? How are the Spirit doing right now? Well, they're right behind the Pride, so um, it wasn't.
All streaks come. All streaks, good or bad, come to an end.
Of course.
Is that better, guys? I hope.
Yeah, we can hear you now, John. We
Okay.
can hear you now. I'll turn your volume back up. I had turned it down a little bit.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's muffled now, but it's better than it was.
Uh,
All right. So
It's live, guys. It's live. It's live podcasting. Please forgive us.
we don't hold anything back. You get to enjoy all the fun with us. All right. So we have that's the Pride. We covered OCB. So this past weekend there were a variety of tournaments going on in the area. We're gonna get to the Generation Adidas Cup. There was also the Copa Rayados, which was another tournament here in the Central Florida area. So the Orlando City Academy U11 team got to their final, but unfortunately ended up falling to Inter Miami 3-1. And in true Miami fashion, two of those three were in PKs. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Things got heated. Things got heated with the 11-year-olds. Don't think it's a joke. Some of these guys, I'll be posting some video of them. I can't wait to see them playing for the first team because I'm pretty sure they will be. So
That's all we can
unfortunate,
ask for.
yeah, unfortunate result for them. I have a good friend of mine who coaches for the academy, and he was coaching their team, and he said, it's tough because at that age you have such a high expectation of it, but then you tell me at 10 and 11 years old, what were you guys doing? Were you playing for an academy? I know I wasn't. Anyway, so yeah. So on to the academy of Orlando City, starting with our U16s. As we mentioned, the Generation Adidas Cup was going on this past week at the immaculate IMG facilities. If you've never been to see those facilities at IMG, they're absolutely astonishing.
Mm-hmm.
So the U16s, their final match was a loss against Inter Miami. It was a 3-1 loss, but great effort by them, and we look forward to seeing them grow in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you gents get to see any of that or not really?
I
Did
think.
not get to see
But
much of the U16s. Unfortunately, they were always earlier in the morning.
All
Uh,
right.
but great effort by them. Congratulations to them. It was second division. There were so many teams there that they had to break it up into like I think four different divisions after group play, and
Yeah.
basically to get fourth overall in the tournament is something special.
Yep.
And is my mic better?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
All right. So on to the U18s at the Generation Adidas Cup. Their final, which they made it to, was on April 20th at 5 p.m. against the Colorado Rapids, which they won. Huge round of applause to them. Well, you need that cheering sound somewhere there.
No.
So they are officially the Generation Adidas Cup champions. Huge shout out to them. I'm gonna try to show some pictures here. Here you see it for those of you not listening, or for those of you listening, we're showing a picture of the actual team. Um, Now another picture of them holding up their trophy. More pictures of the team here. Amazing, amazing match. I know, gents, we were talking about it. I didn't actually get to watch it live, but I did watch a replay. So great effort by the team. Some amazing plays. Um, Great effort by the coaching staff as well. Um, I have a
Yes, and
picture of them up here. Like anything else, just without them, these kids would not have been able to accomplish what they did. I'm lucky to know a few of those people coaching over there, and that's really all you can hope for. This is what they all work towards. For them, this is their passion. So good
yeah,
job, congrats, and you know, looking
no,
forward to lifting much more silverware.
for sure. I would like to recognize a few fellas. Justin Ellis, top scorer of the tournament. This young man has a bright future ahead of him with this organization. Um, Again, we're getting to know a lot of the talent that is coming out of the academy, and Justin Ellis definitely has a future. So we want to send a huge shout out to him. On the U18's best 11 for the tournament, uh, Jackson Platts, defender, Clovis Arkaj, uh, who's a defender, Colin Gushke, midfielder, Gustavo Caraballo, forward, and Justin Ellis, forward, were selected among the best 11. So out of that, one, two, three, four, five Orlando City Academy products in the best 11. Congratulations. Also, a big shout out to Pitiello Janjak, former USL Orlando City player who is a coach in the academy. He posted pictures with several of the players, Gashki and Arkaj, and to me, very happy to see an old servant of this club, still being part of the organization. I think, I can speak for a lot of the fans that we're so lucky and excited and happy to see some of the guys that were part of the USL era, still with the organization and doing big things. Caraballo, just to mention it, was the MVP of the tournament. He had a brace in the 2-1 victory over Colorado. And you guys excuse me because there's tons of stuff here to go through. My apologies. And let's see here. This is the first time that Orlando City wins the U18 division. And what else? I believe that's it. But I have to say that in this podcast we take a lot of pride the fact that we're always talking about the academy, we're always talking about OCV, and um, I have to say this. I'm just very happy that our club is investing in the youth, and that that we have a path for these young people to find themselves in the first team. The goal, my friends, at the end of the day, is that we field a team that is mostly local kids, and we are heading in that direction. It saves us money. It's We're gonna be a conduit for players to find a way into the professional game, and that's what real clubs do. That's what real clubs do. While it's exciting to go and buy players from South America and Europe and all that, or perhaps bring some big name at the twilight of their career, big clubs, the ones that lift trophies, the ones that are profitable, do exactly what Orlando City is doing. So I'm very happy. Congratulations to all the players. We wish you the best in your journey. I know it's not easy, all the sacrifice, but like that old Puerto Rican proverb says, it's not paying for the groceries, it's carrying the bags home that counts. So thank you very much, guys. From this fan, nothing but appreciation to you guys.
Yeah, I watched most of the match on Sunday, most of the U18 final, and I mean, when Carballo hit had to hit the game winner, it was a great shot, great piece of individual skill. I know it's the second time I've said that this show, but it was. Um, he stood out above everybody in the match. I saw, I think, a total of not complete matches, but about three matches. The semifinals, when I believe he came off, there was a definite difference late in the game in our attack. They kind of give him, he's, the most skilled player on the team. And just to think that if I understand the rules correctly, he's potentially playing a age group up because he could have been with the U16s based on his age and his birth date. Because and Ahmed, you would know this better than I believe, is the cutoff date still the end of July for most places for the age? I know it used to be July
No,
31st.
it's by birth year.
Okay.
It's by birth year.
It's birth year now,
Yeah,
strictly? Okay.
yeah. But oddly enough, there's like a whole bunch of talk about this online. Next year, everybody, with the exception of MLS and somebody else, is switching back to school year.
Yeah.
So depending on where you're playing, you're either going to be playing the school grade that you would be in or that you are in, and then if you go to MLS next, and I don't remember what other league or MLS in general, you're going to be playing birth year.
But either
So
way, I think birth year he even would count for U16 because he just turned 16 at the end of August. I
yeah,
looked it up. So, our U16 team was missing our best 16-year-old playing for them. And then Justin Ellis, for those that didn't watch, my perception of him, if I were to compare him to, players on the senior team, it'd be a mix of, Duncan McGuire with a little bit of Ramiro Enrique, mixed in. Ellis showed great composure on the ball, great hold up play, the ability to win balls in the air, great speed, but also great, for a striker, very good to great ball control, dribble and control, one on one skill, stuff like that. His passing was right there. I believe he had the assist on the game winning goal. Um, he got it. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was right in the middle of the D. Switched it over to Carballo, and then Carballo put it in. So I mean, amazing run. Really made my weekend from a sports aspect. I was, extremely down because of the match on Saturday, which I know we'll touch on in a minute, but that really, really gave me a pep in my step as far as my sports teams go. And like David was saying, the pride for these boys that I have. I know David shares. I'm sure I know Ahmed shares. I know Miss Ayel shares the pride that we have in what they accomplish. Beating teams with names like Inter Milan and Bayern Munich. Um, it is just incredible. And I don't know if those were their U.S. chapter academies or if those were their actual academies. But either way, with names like that, you beating teams with Inter, and anywhere in the world you say Inter or Bayern, and they they probably will, they should know who you're talking about. Two of the biggest clubs in the world. And that kills me as a Dortmund and Milan fan to say, but just an incredible 2 weeks for those boys.
Absolutely. It's to David's point, it's great to see the talent. It's great to see it being local talent, and it just makes me optimistic for where we as a sport are going in this country. If everybody is kind of following that same direction that Orlando City is, I'm very optimistic. I mean, we always like to say the future is purple as far as we're concerned, but the future is really, really bright as far as the MLS is concerned. If this is what all the other clubs, or if I should say, if the other clubs follow what Orlando City's doing, to David's point, that's what the clubs that are huge do. And you know what? That's what packs the seats. That's why you see seats packed everywhere overseas, because the people that play in those local clubs, guess what? They grew up in those cities. You have grandmothers and grandfathers going to see their grandkids playing in those leagues. So um, I hope that we can take this, put it in a time capsule, and watch it in like what, another 10 or 20 years, and see where this league is, or where the sport is, I should say, because hopefully there's more than just the league that we're in right now. Um, that would really be a success, to have those different levels, to have the all those other things we always talk about. So
And one more
anyway,
thing on the U18s. I thought I sent the video. I must not have, but the video of the celebration. If you go to the on X, if you go to the Academy's page, they'll show the celebration with the U18s. It was awesome. They have one of the pictures you had. You saw the bracket behind them. Who was the captain? The midfielder. Gusky was the captain of the team right there. There you go. That big placard up on top, the center of the board at the top, middle of the
yep.
board at the top. They gave that to our captain. He came up and smacked it on there, and then all the players, started going crazy. And then they started chanting "Vamos Orlando," and then about 10 seconds before the camera cut away from them and the microphones cut away from them, the U16s actually joined in with them celebrating. And then my son Barrett was watching it too. He was jumping up and down and didn't realize until I told him what they were singing. And then he was jumping
Mhm.
up and down singing with them too. So, but even without Barrett doing that, it was, a very cool celebration to see the, probably 14 to 18 year olds, jumping up and down after, winning a very prestigious tournament and singing the chant, the
Yeah.
song that our club's known for.
Okay. Well, anything else to add? No,
No,
we're good.
we move on to more subjects. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we're never gonna finish.
Yeah, we could talk about this all day. So let's move on to other topics. Back to our main topic at hand, the first team. So in some first team news before we get to our last game, um, where we at here? So there was an announcement confirming the new contracts for the assistant coaching staff. We have Diego Torres, Martin Perleman, Cesar Baena, and Fabian Bazan. Um, Huge thank you to these gentlemen, because without
Absolutely.
them, um, you know, the boys could not do what they do. Along that same line, the mission continues. There was an announcement by the club that Oscar Pareja's contract was renewed. How many years was it renewed for, gentlemen?
For
I don't
three
recall.
years.
For 3 years.
So he has it through the 28th season.
3 years. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one up for a minute because I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this one. What are we thinking, folks? Because, let's be honest. We there was a time when we as a podcast, maybe not this exact crew, was known as, we were like the Poppy Out people, right?
No, no, we
Um,
were the only ones. I mean, let's be honest. There's only
I'm
a
trying to
lot
be
of
nice,
people.
David. I'm trying to be nice, right?
No,
Um, Some would say things have changed. Some would say things haven't changed. What do you all think about the renewal? Not about just about the renewal. Let's talk about that first. What do we think
Sure.
about the renewal? What does it say something?
It says commitment from the Will family towards Oscar. We're not gonna cover the sun with one hand. Oscar has been so far the only manager that has taken us to the promised land, the playoffs,
Mhm.
6 seasons in a row. Some there was at least three of those seasons where it looked doubtful. Oscar had a second place finish in the league in 2023, Open Cup champions in 2022, uh, 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 conference championship last year. So of course you roll the dice with that guy. Uh, I have to say this. I spoke with Oscar at his event this year, the Pareja Perspective. Oscar holds this podcast in high esteem. He knows who we are. Um, Personally, I have a lot of respect for Oscar. He knows who I am by name. And you know, when I spoke with him, it was briefly because I had to run home. You know, he was very excited, very hopeful for the season. The criticism that we gave him was warranted. You know, Oscar came here with the Poppy special tactics that were frustrating because they either work or they didn't. We either won or we lost. And you know, people come to the games to see goals scored, not one goal and let's hunker down. His game plan has evolved, has progressed. He has gained the respect and the trust of the players and of the fans as well. He is very cognizant, very aware of what the fans say about him and the attitude. He has said as much in these events where he's been able to talk to the fans, which, by the way, we are wasting opportunities to meet with the man one on one and being able to ask him questions. I encourage everybody, if the club is going to give us the opportunity, please go. I know that sometimes these events are in the middle of the week, et cetera, but I digress. I think we have a plan. We have a goal. Oscar is behind everything. When we went, John and I went to the game for OCB. Oscar was sitting behind us. You know, Oscar makes this part of his persona. He goes to see the kids in the academy in OCB. You know, Oscar is building from the ground up. And lastly, you know, I'm rolling the dice with him. He's our manager for the foreseeable future, and we gotta support him. And I think you know, want to finish. Oscar, the person, is a fantastic human being. See, if there's one thing where you blindly support him because you are fearful of change, you are fearful of the unknown, and the other one is to be won over by hard work, by determination, and the one thing that defines football: results. So I have to say I apologize to nobody for the, you know, for the attitude that I had, the views that I had. Oscar has won me over. That there's things that need to improve. All of us can say that about ourselves. So I just want to say to Oscar, because I know that family members watch us. You know how happy I am for him and his family. By the end of this contract, it will mean that Oscar will basically be in here. Will be here a decade. So that makes him hands down the Orlando City manager with the highest tenure, surpassing the legendary Adrian Heath, and also at this point makes him one of the longest managers in MLS. I believe he's the oldest. Because
Second longest, I believe.
thank you, brother.
It gets
Yeah, because Seattle still has theirs. So anyhow, that is that. I'm proud, and obviously there's a path, there's a mission, there's a plans that are in place. that are not going to be held public. Anybody claiming that they are insiders, they know they're absolutely lies. There's nothing out there. They're holding these cards close to the chest. We'll have to find out as that plan unfolds in front of us.
Go ahead, Miss Al.
Not much. The only thing my only
Are you
opinion
talking,
on it.
Misael? We can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
It's
Hold
very
on, let me
low,
see.
brother.
Oh, hold on. That was my bad. Here, go ahead, Misael. I got you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything David said. My only gripe is um the length of the extension. Um, I don't wish it was 3 more years. Um, I wish it was like a 2 year or maybe a year with an option just to see where we go. We've been, kind of falling backwards a little bit lately, and so I just would like to see, where we go from here before we give them such big extension. But other than that, um, like we just touched that he's the second longest uh tenor coach right now behind how you say his name, Smeltzer, Smets. I forgot how you say his name on Seattle. But he actually has more wins than him since he's been here. Um, so like David said, everything, it's the I respect the guy and he did a lot for us, and can't really say too much wrong about the guy. I don't know him personally, so.
So I'll start by just saying, congratulations to Poppy. You look at where we were, before he came here. He's brought this club to levels that we never thought was possible. Um, the average tenure of a coach in soccer around the world is a little more than a year and a half. When he started this, he considered a project. He's still calling it a project. Um, so I mean, hats off to him. Thankful for everything he's done. Everybody on this podcast knows that I'm not the biggest fan of his preferred style of play. But he obviously knows what he's doing because he's coaching a professional soccer team, and I sit behind a microphone once a week and talk about it. With that being said, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I just do find it interesting that for the first um, 6 matches of the season, basically we look like a completely different team with our attack, especially for the basically the fourth through sixth match. But we've gone 3 matches without scoring a goal. Yes, our central midfielders two
Yeah,
hold.
but John, but we're undefeated in those last 5 matches.
We also haven't scored a goal in 3 of them. Um, my
Yeah.
word is just like it was 2 seasons ago. And I believe it was September. We were talking about the road ahead and kind of how we thought the playoffs were going to go. My fear is that he's going to go and revert back to his preferred style because he got his contract. Kind of like how everybody always says. I feel like, especially in the NBA, this is a thing that's commonly said. The guy's on a contract year, and he's going to he's going to play harder. Um, and basically, that they'll will just revert back. And I mean, to me, yes, David said it's a commitment and everything. To me personally, it's a commitment to being a little bit better than mediocre. You look at the playoffs last year, we had zero excuses to lose that match against New York. We scored zero goals in that match and lost at home to a Red Bulls team that, frankly, shouldn't even have made it that far. You look at the year before against Columbus, Again, we don't score, or I think we scored. Did we score one goal late? But we were down 1-0, or it was 0-0. Went to regular extra time, lost in extra time because we were a man down because he continually starts a player that has shown to be a liability. So, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that, that the last three matches have just been a mirage with our really three of our midfielders out because Cartagena and Araujo were supposed to be our starters coming in. We lose Cartagena early in the year. And then, the the other two, Araujo and
Atuesta.
Atuesta, have been out the last three matches and we've scored 0 goals. And Atuesta's one that really helped our attack. I did a little research coming into it, and I know we'll go into it later, but he's really big in our attack, very crucial in our attack, and so we'll see. Again, congrats to Poppy. I mean, he's worked his tail off to get the club to where it is. If you were to go back to the end of the 2019 season and say we made a conference final, I think all four of us would have been elated and set, and advised that individual that told us that to go to the psych ward.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the graphics that they posted when they announced Oscar, and the focus is on the accomplishments without actually being on the accomplishments, if that makes sense, right? Like it shows a pre and a post Oscar, pre-Oscar,
Yeah,
or not
yeah.
a pre and a post, a pre-Oscar, no postseason appearances, and zero final appearances. Now during Oscar, we have 5 postseason appearances, 3 finals, and a trophy. Um, we're one of 2 MLS teams on an active streak of 5 consecutive Audi MLS Cup
Hmm.
playoff appearances. We are this, and he is the second winningest active MLS coach after Bruce Arena, with the second most regular season wins. But where does that put us, right? Like when you leave the stadium, when you think of somebody, how do I say this without it coming off like I'm being a snob, a soccer snob? When you think of a winning team, do you think of, yes, they made it to the playoffs, or yeah, they did well this season? No, you say my team kicks ass. Ooh, sorry, because they won like the trophy, right? Not because of how well they're doing, because they're the best at in their league, right? And then you can have arguments because year over year, the first team becomes the second team, becomes the third team. But I just feel like we're we're trying to fluff things up that are not, right? And that's the marketing aspect of it. I get it. I just think, like, for me, when we see stuff like that, or when I hear about how we are like, we have it, we're 5 matches undefeated. Like, stop with the marketing hype. Just don't say anything. It'll make me feel better about it. I don't know what you guys think, right? But
Well,
congrats.
I agree. I agree with you. That's why I said I'm sorry to cut you off. That's
Ah,
why I had said that I wish the contract extension wasn't as long, just because I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like you're saying. I mean,
but it's not
if
even
we make
that.
it
For
to
me, it's not
if we
even
make it
about
to the
how
first
long it.
round,
Yeah.
if we make it to the first round, I mean, what do we do? Play another week? I mean, it's like, can another coach come in here with this same team and do that? Probably,
But you know
probably. I
what?
mean,
I get it though. I mean, I get it. If I mean, maybe they have a plan, maybe they have a direction, and they're like, we're gonna stick with Oscar. And I don't even care about that. Like, if that's the way you're gonna go that route. But don't try to make it out to be like we're doing things that we're not, right? Like for me, and again, it's the market. Maybe we, the 4 of us on this podcast, are different and have different expectation than the masses, right? We don't have the same expectations of our club. When we say we have a championship team, we have a team that wins, we have a different expectation of that. And they're not appealing to us, they're appealing to the masses. So I get that. It's just, it's frustrating when you hear it. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
moving on.
well, like, if yes, do I like our team making the playoffs 5 consecutive years?
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yes.
another coach out there somewhere else has won in between that and hasn't been in the same spot for 5 years in a row. So
Yeah.
it's like you're saying, it's kind of like, yeah, you're announcing that, yeah, it is cool, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you don't like. I don't know. Like,
And maybe we'll be proven wrong, right? Like I said, for me, if that's the route they want to go, that's the route they want to go. They're the leadership of the team. They manage the team. They choose the direction for it, and we'll see where it goes.
what's
And obviously,
what's
we
crazy
only wish
is
them the best. It's not like we're like we want to see Oscar fail. No, nobody
oh
wants
no,
to
of
see him
course. Like
fail.
with all that, me saying that, just like I said, I'll go back and at the same time I'll say I respect the guy. And honestly, if we were to win anytime soon, I would like it to be him because he's put in so much work that I wish he would he would be the guy to get that.
Yeah,
Because that's the only thing that's like I think what holding him back in his managing career. I mean, it's the cup. He's done everything else.
And I will say one thing in sports, and I do mean this positively. One thing in sports that is very hard to obtain and retain is consistency, and to have now you can sit there and the thing I do like about the advertisement they put out that we have up on the screen that says the mission continues. So now the key players, in Ojeda, Marco, Arujo, the players that could potentially be here for the next 3 years. Um, you know that get along with Poppy, that that respect Poppy and everything. Um, they have a reason to stay here. If
hmm
they only sign them to a 1 year, a 1+1, a one with an option.
that's true.
It's like, do I really want to stay here? I don't even know if the coach is going to be here after next season, after 2026. So, consistency is key when you have a stable foundation. And, like you guys have said, we've done things that the last 5 seasons, very few clubs have been able to do, make the playoffs for 5 straight years. We did get up to second place, um, 2 years ago. We finished fourth place last year. And the league just keeps and keeps getting better. I mean, I feel like Poppy has proven what David and I were saying 2 years ago, that the league has passed them up. I do feel like that he proved us wrong on that that's not factual. Proven by a or a second place finish, a fourth place finish, and a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals. So overall, I do think it's a positive thing. Obviously, playing devil's advocate and having my own caution about his coaching style. I will wait and see. I hope that we go on and win, 3 consecutive cups, but that's not realistic. But
Yeah,
that's the goal every season. David says the promised land's the playoffs. The promised land for us, for our club, used to be the playoffs. Well, guess what? We made it to the promised land. Now what's next?
exactly.
Next is a championship. So,
But that's what a team should always do is
yeah,
push themselves.
100%. And I really feel like in order for this next 3 years to be a success, he has to win at least one MLS Cup and one more at least make the final of the U.S. Open Cup one more time.
And thank you for that transition point. Speaking of the U.S. Open Cup, it has been announced that our next match in the round of 32 against the Tampa Bay Rowdies is coming up, and we will be playing away in Tampa. I believe it's actually in St. Pete on
Yes.
Wednesday, May the 7th. I know.
Rowdies, tell me how it feels.
Oh man. You know, I'm gonna try to go. My son wants to go. I may end up having to take him out of school. I can't not take him because he would not forgive me if he wanted to go. Um, that'll be one of those matches that you don't forget anytime soon, regardless of the outcome, right? Because it's one of those rivalries. That this was one of the original rivalries because this was around before
Was
uh,
the
any
rivalry.
any of our neighbors. That's how you know there's some chance that include their names. So I am truly looking forward to this just because of the atmosphere that I hope will be there. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this upcoming
Yeah.
match and the U.S. Open Cup? Let's start talking about it a little bit since obviously it's coming up. I know we've mentioned. I think it was David. You mentioned that we're favored in
Yes,
this
we're the
tournament at this
favorites.
point.
We're the favorites
Um,
at winning this. Actually, when I spoke with Oscar, I told him, I said, "Prophet, remember, we're favorites. There's a great possibility of us um, winning the whole thing. It's a condensed format. Basically, very few MLS teams. So we have a better chance to win it this year than we did actually in 2022. um, Last year, this podcast boycotted alongside with ILF and other groups. I just I have to mention that it was ourselves and OC Fan TV the only ones that had the testicular fortitude to tell the club go suck a lemon and tell the league we're not going to partake in your charade. The U.S. Open Cup deserves respect. It's the oldest trophy since 1914. It was basically played uninterrupted until, unfortunately, 2020 and 2021 were canceled due to the pandemic. This is a tournament that survived World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. I mean, every war after that, every the Great Depression, and unfortunately, it was the COVID pandemic, the one that put a stop to it for 2 years. But I've been watching the games again. It never ceases to amaze me how much fun is this tournament. Personally, the most memorable game in recent memory was the playing the Rowdies at home in 2022. And now it's our turn to return the favor and go to their house. I have to say, to me, the rivalry died that night. It was very, very evident that both clubs, after their parting ways in the lower leagues, we have become a very style, professional organization, while they remain, no offense, just a USL club. And so there's no competition, there's no comparison. We're very way high. I know for the old school guys, the guys from the USL era, playing the Rowdies means something. This should be a formality. I'm sorry. Obviously, there's always the cup sets. God knows what's going to happen. Football is played on grass, not on paper. We say that all the time. But that it is what it is. I think to finish, I would like to remind the Rowdies that they have, while they have defeated OCB, they have never defeated the first team. They have lost 8 times. Let me say that 8 times against Orlando City. They have never won against Orlando City. Orlando City has defeated them many times. If you go on social media trying to start stuff, you just come on. You got no room. Just sit down, enjoy the fact that an MLS team is gonna go to your field and play in front of you. Imagine that. Day in, day out, all you gotta watch is crappy rowdy football, and then all of a sudden the true kings of Florida, the most popular club in Florida, the most well known, with the biggest fan base outside of the United States. And I'm sorry, it is because our fans are not the fans of a player; they're fans of the club. Okay, Orlando City, UK, holding it down. This podcast is watched outside of the United States. Okay, and it's why? Because there's fans all over the world following Orlando City. Orlando City protecting the pride of Florida. So to the Rowdies fans, you're in for a treat. Make sure that you buy your tickets and be there to witness Orlando City once again stepping all over your baseball stadium. Thank you, guys.
Gents, any thoughts before we move on?
Uh, no, I was just gonna say David touched on it. I was just gonna say I remember being there in 22 when they came to our house and we beat them 2-1 with a Pato PK and Urso brace, and And yeah, it was fun. I don't remember that night them having too many of their fans there. So it didn't feel like you didn't feel that animosity. You didn't feel that um
Energy, the energy.
rivalry from before. Yeah, the energy. So hoping this one's better. Hopefully I can make it. If I can't make it out there, everyone that goes, be safe out there. In case it does get a little rowdy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, people that aren't, or I'll say Euro snobs, because that's the catchphrase for people that don't like the MLS. The Euro snobs always say, "Oh, there's no history in our sport in the United States. There's no true rivalries. They go on and on trying to make up excuses to not give the league and professional leagues in our country a chance. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is the history of this sport. If it wasn't for this tournament, we would be even further behind European countries in the sport than we already are. And as far as the history with the Rowdies go, I've been a Orlando City fan, like a lot of our regular listeners know. I've been a fan since basically I moved here. Moved here August of 2012. That next spring, I went to my first match. And just grew to love the team. I've always loved the sport. Always wanted to have a team to call my own, a club to call my own, and support with the passion for the sport that I do have. And Orlando City gave me that outlet. So this rivalry, this derby, if you will, holds a special place, in my heart. Um, that you ask me, if anybody asks you who we played in the U.S. Open Cup in 22. There's two teams I know for sure, three teams I know for sure we played: the Rowdies, Miami, and the Red Bulls. Don't remember the team. What was it? Sacramento Republic, I think is who it was. And
Yeah,
again,
Right.
yeah.
about it.
Fine.
I've had 10 minutes or so since we started talking about it to ponder on the 22 Open Cup campaign. But if you were just to come up in the street and say, who did Orlando City play during their run in the 2022 U.S. Open Cup, it'd be in this order: Rowdies, Red Bulls, and Miami. Those are the three teams I remember us playing. Rowdies because that was one of the matches I was able to go to. Bought tickets the second they were available. Remember Urso scoring, coming over and standing on top of the
Yeah.
advertisement board or in front of the advertisement board, putting
Hmm.
the sunglasses on with one of the fans and doing his famous bear claws. Um, but yes, as a team versus team, is it not really a rivalry anymore? Absolutely, but when you go supporter, what makes the rivalries great is what makes great rivalries is the supporters and the towns and the cities that the respective clubs play in not liking each other too much. And that's where this falls in to place. It's one of those that Tampa doesn't like us and we don't like them. At Tampa, the Rowdy fans are jealous of us because we've actually won something since the 80s. We've won trophies since the 80s, even in the USL when we were playing against them. So we earned our way into the MLS. Unlike a lot of the new teams, we earned our way into the MLS. We're one of the few clubs, us in Cincinnati are one of the few clubs that can actually say that they have a history before the MLS. You look at a lot of the other teams, they either just popped out of nowhere because they had basically just popped out of nowhere because they had a rich owner or they were a part of one of the original teams during the original expansion era. So if you want tickets, if you're not a member of a supporter group, unfortunately, you're gonna have to go on the Rowdies website and buy it. It's a travesty that our front office gives, and this isn't a spite against the supporter groups. They deserve their tickets, but when we have ownership, when the family of the ownership that owns the Vikings can dish out $2 million for a playoff game for their fans in Detroit, you would hope they could dish out 2,000 to get our fans that aren't members of supporter groups tickets to the match. Tickets are $20 a piece. The cheapest tickets are $20 a piece. The most expensive is $35 a piece. The Wolves could buy every ticket of that homeless shelter that the Rowdies want to call their home field for a tenth of what they bought, a handful of tickets for the Vikings fans. Yes, it's a Wednesday night. Yes, do I expect them to buy $200,000 or do I expect them to buy $200,000 in tickets? Absolutely not. But give something to the fans. I mean, give something to the everyday fan that you know, wants to go see it that's not a member of a supporters group that doesn't want to, spend the extra $25 to $50 to be a member of the supporter groups, or just goes there, goes to the matches with their family, and that's what their family does, and they want to go see the rivalry against our ugly stepbrother over in Tampa. I'm having trouble bringing it to words because it really is, really does grind my gears that the front office didn't do more to, or visually didn't do more to obtain tickets. But at the same time, there's only like 7,500 can fit into that, you know, baseball stadium they want to call a football pitch. So we don't want to overwhelm them. We got to give them something. We're already doing charity work by just our team showing up and showing them what a quality soccer club and a quality soccer team looks like. So I'll be there. If you guys can't tell, I'm fired up for it. I've said since the beginning that I'm going to be going there. I've been on X talking the talk. I just hope that the team shows up and they don't treat it as something that just should happen. They treat it as they would any other match and go out there and absolutely dominate a lesser opponent and advance to the next round, which will be at home.
By you putting it that way, it makes me think this is the longest, running soccer tournament here in the States. And if you want to grow the sport here in America, everybody has to do their part. And I feel like little things that maybe like this, like you said, if the front office were to get people tickets, hell, maybe even go as far as chartering buses to get them there and back, against your rival in a tournament, those little things I feel like will help grow the sport. More people, it will probably entice more people to want to go to the game. So yeah, that's one of the things I think of when you bring it up in that way. That everybody has to do their part, and I feel like that would be a big help.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, to me, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Like, we could go down a rabbit hole in what the front office and ownership isn't doing, but there's no reason that with a tiny, dinky little stadium like that, and them being so close, that it's not half Orlando City fans, three-quarter Orlando City fans. I mean,
Hmm.
we when we played them 2 years ago, we had, I believe it was 12,000 people in the stadium, and it was, they didn't release all 25,500 and some odd tickets to our stadium. It was, they had the upper deck closed, and we still had 10 to 12,000 people. So, I'd
I'm
be very,
assuming
yeah.
I'm assuming like right now in the NBA playoffs, the Detroit Pistons are playing the Knicks. The ownership of Detroit only wants tickets to be sold within that area. So basically, they don't want a bunch of New York Knicks fans showing up and
Different
taking over
culture.
the stadium. So yeah, it is a different culture, but I feel like maybe that is what the reason why you can only get it through Tampa and the supporter groups. That way, the supporter groups is only a certain allotment of tickets instead of opening up to everyone. Because, like you just said, we're around the corner and we can easily fill that place up.
The
They
way
don't
I
want
look
that.
at it,
They
if you
don't
want to
want that.
show up, go support football. And like I said before we started recording, rivalries to the side. It's still the Open Cup. There's still a football club in our state. Those guys are Floridians as well. They are football fans, and to be honest with you, we need the Tampa Bay Rowdies. We need my Inter Miami. We need the Naples and Jacksonville Armada. And next year there's another club in Bradenton coming to the USL. If we want to grow football in the state of Florida, we need viable teams that are profitable and that have a fan base that wants to follow them. I'm gonna take my hat off of being a fan to be a fan, a missionary for the for the sport of football. Our state is the third largest state in population in our country. By the end of the decade, we should be having 30 million people calling one of the 67 counties in our state home, and that's gonna put us on the map for football because, as you guys know, the World Cup is coming to town. The sports teams are growing in our state, and not for nothing. I think we are in a place where we pride ourselves on the fact that you could go and you don't have to be isolated. You don't have to be segregated like in other countries. You can just go cheer for your team, and nothing's gonna happen to you. If people want to go find problems, they're always gonna find them. Personally, I'm not an ultra. I'm just a fat middle-aged man, father of three, that makes a living. And I mean, if you're gonna attack me physically, I'm gonna defend myself, but I'm not gonna go and start anything. I think it's gonna be a great feast for the football fans. I'm excited for it. Jealous about those that are gonna be able to be there. I can't obviously because I got this thing called work that always gets in between my enjoyment of the beautiful game. So with that said, guys, I think we're just looking forward to the game and for Orlando City to win. Like I believe either John or Misael already mentioned, we bring this thing back home, and again, we're the favorites to win it. And lifting the 2025 U.S. Open Cup will be a great achievement for our club. Mind you, the last time we had a final in the state of Florida, Inter Miami laid an egg. Thank God we can say that uh, Messi will never be a U.S. Open Cup champion. So take that to bed. They will never sing
And
that.
just kind of adding on to David's point, and then just looking at the Open Cup as a whole. David said that Florida should be, eventually will be one of the, you know, nation's capital for the sport. You just look at what the future's holding. Our U18s just won the, highest level in the Georgia Invitational, Generation Adidas, whatever the heck they call it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many, so as you know, and a lot of people know, there's so many youth tournaments. But two the two biggest clubs in the state won something at that tournament to speak of. Out of however many teams were there in their age groups, two teams, the two biggest teams in our state, their academies won trophies, won first place trophies. One academy won a first place and a second place, which was us. So, there's good things going. We have a great culture down there with the a lot of South American influence down here, and everybody knows how rabid people from South America are about the sport, and there's no reason we shouldn't be. But moving on to the Open Cup, just for those, it's been a while since we've brought it up. Just for those that need a refresher from the MLS, there's 16 clubs competing in the Open Cup this year. I'll go down the list. We have Austin FC, Charlotte, Chicago, DC, Dallas, Houston, Minnesota, Nashville, New England, New York City FC, New York Red Bulls, us, Philadelphia, Portland, San Jose, and St. Louis City. So, you look at that list, there's really two teams maybe based on current form that'll three teams that'll give us a run for it, and Charlotte, New York Red Bulls, and Philadelphia Union. Obviously, if we have to go up and play at that abomination that is Yankee Stadium, uh, you know, anything can happen in that stadium.
We got to be able to score goals to do this.
You know what?
Well,
Let's
if we
hold
play,
on. Just hold on with the scoring of the
Okay,
goals.
okay.
You
My
guys are
bad.
getting ahead of me. You guys are
My
getting
bad. My bad.
ahead.
just
So
a
before,
quick thing before we move on to talk about Montreal. The if we play New York City in their home, we actually gonna be playing in college stadium because for Open Cup purposes, um, they have never been able to play in their home. So that said, um, we don't have to worry about playing in a baseball field for that matter.
Play them in
Uh,
Connecticut again.
no, it's gonna be in Queens. I think there's a community college there that they
Yeah,
use
the
for.
B team, their second team plays at St. John's.
Okay, St.
wait,
John's.
Mm,
you're telling me
That's
okay.
it's going to be at
downtown
St.
Brooklyn,
John's
right, Ahmed?
University? No, it's in
Yeah,
Queens. It's in St. John's
St.
University.
John's at Queens.
Oh my gosh!
I
Wow!
remember watching the OCB game last year and trying to figure out where it was without
Wow!
looking it up, and then saw a thing that said Red Storm on it, which is
Yeah,
St.
St. John's
John's,
basketball team. Yeah.
their team name. And then I looked it up to
Wow.
confirm it, and it was St. John's Field that the second team plays at.
There
Good
you go.
pitch. I believe it's turf, though. If I
Yeah, it
recall
is
correctly,
turf.
it's
It
turf.
is turf.
Now, you guys reminded me of something. For those of you who are season ticket holders, if there's a deadline of Wednesday, April 23rd, if you are a season ticket holder, to opt out of the League's Cup tickets. If you choose to do so, you have to do so by this Wednesday, April 23rd by 10 a.m. You automatically have the first rounds of tickets. I believe it's the first three rounds, if I'm not mistaken.
The
Yeah,
first
three.
Um,
first three
yeah, which
matches.
are July
Three
30th,
matches.
August 2nd, and August 6th. However, the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, if we make it that far, are not included. So if you want to opt out and be able to just buy your tickets, or you're just not interested in the tickets, or whatever the case may be, just a reminder, you would have to do so by Wednesday the 23rd. Personally, I think I might, because I usually prefer to end up going finding other tickets in the stadium, because usually you
Right.
can find other
I
seats.
opted out because obviously I don't know if I'm gonna be working when the games are gonna be.
Well,
So
that's the other thing. They don't tell you when the games are gonna be, and I'm just
right.
like, well, when are these gonna be? Like, you gave me the first three dates for the ones that we bought, but you're telling me you're gonna charge me for. I have 5 seats, guys, for my
Whew.
family. It's like, yeah, so no.
Oh yeah, you. Oh yeah, you got to opt out, bro.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying, for everybody watching, if you are a season ticket holder, if you are not sure, you have to decide by Wednesday. Otherwise, you're basically opted in. So
And I
just
believe the opt out, just for clarity, is only for those additional rounds. You already have
Right.
correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
first
only for
three
those.
first three
And if
matches.
you have multiple tickets, you can pick how many of the tickets you want to opt out for. Right. So it's not like if you have multiple tickets, it's not like an all or none. Like in my case, like I said, I have 5 tickets. I can opt out of like two or three of the tickets and still keep the other ones. So it's just good to know you can do that. If you're gonna do it, you have to do it by Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. So that means Tuesday night. All right. So now, talking of scoring goals or the lack thereof, this past Saturday
Uh-huh.
we went up to Montreal. Um,
Quebec.
we went back in many ways. We went back in many ways to CF Montreal, and it was a draw of 0-0. I did not get to watch this match live because I was out, and it's probably a good thing. So the next morning, I told my son, I'm like, don't text me, don't tell me anything about the match. I didn't listen to our group texts. I only saw one notification, and then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Sunday morning, I grabbed a cup of coffee. I sat in front of the TV. I put the game on. I started watching it, and I was like, I just wasted all this time watching this game because what the hell was I watching? Um, That's really my thought because I was like looking forward to it. I'm like, I'm about to watch an exciting match. We need a win, we need to score, we need points, we need this, and this is what we had, a draw. But it wasn't even that it was a draw. I'll take a good draw. It was not a good draw. Like I don't know what you all thought about the match, but it was not an exciting game to watch. The refereeing left some to be desired, but I hate to say that because it makes it seem like I'm out copping out, like, oh, you're blaming the refs, blah, blah, blah. Like I don't think Santos's first card was a yellow, so for him to get the two, I was like, oh, whatever.
We got
Uh,
some comments that have been percolating there. Our
oh,
friend
yeah,
Jim D. Jim, we
yeah,
wanted to wait till we got here. We were not ignoring your comment.
yeah. Jim D. Hey, Jim, thanks for watching. He says, everyone is saying if we can't win in Montreal, we're in trouble. Good timing for this comment. So I still don't feel we're in trouble, but I cannot handle a regression to Poppy Ball. For me, if we beat ATL, all is forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And then John, your dad goes on to Ray goes on to say, April Fools don't score, don't score in April and get 3 year extension.
Thank you, Ray. See,
Yeah. Thank you, Ray.
But it was just really a frustrating for me. It was just a frustrating game to watch because we actually had more shots on goal at least in the first half than they did. We didn't
Yeah.
have possession. We had a decent amount of shots, but there was not, like that's the only good part. I felt like we were trying to score, but we just weren't fit. It just wasn't happening. But for me, I was just like it was underwhelming the game. So I'll open the floor to you all guys.
missing a Tuesta in the middle is a big deal.
Yeah, really, him
It's
and
a
Araujo,
huge, it's
man.
a
I didn't
huge
realize
deal.
how big
Yeah,
a difference they make.
it's
Cause
a huge deal.
yeah, for real, it's just
Well,
crazy.
I gotta tell you guys. Usually, this is what I took out of the game. First of all, if we are going to have technology like VAR, is to use it. In field engineering and every job that I ever had, we always have this joke where we say that technology in the hands of idiots is useless. In my career of over 25 years fixing medical equipment, I've seen people where I have to question these individuals touch human beings. If they treat the equipment the same way they treat patients, they're killing people out there. I think the penalty on Muriel was so flagrant. I just couldn't believe that. I can understand how the center referee can make that decision because obviously you can't be everywhere. You're heavily dependent on the fourth official, on your assistants, but there's three men whose only job is to stare at the screen, and if they get to see what we saw and they don't call that a penalty, I'm sorry. They probably were in the bathroom. That's what I'm trying to think. They had Taco Bell while they were watching the game. They had some explosive diarrhea and they left the monitors unattended. I'm sorry. Now, if you see the game earlier in the day with Inter Miami, you know, Messi can elbow people. Messi can have a free kick where he just lets the ball roll and kick, and everything is awesome. Everything is fine. Everything is perfect. But we continue to have this awful refereeing in MLS where I hate to admit it, but the fact is that the referee at this game made the outcome. He decided the outcome. The football did not. While a lot of people can argue that the first yellow for Santos was unwarranted, I feel that he went in, studs up, hits the guy in the foot. It was reckless endangerment to the opponent. Santos should have known better. He just wanted to body check this guy. Well, guess what, buddy? You played yourself because uh, the second yellow, no reason. You already know you're in a yellow. The referee really basically the only thing that was missing was that he was wearing a Montreal jersey himself, and you foul a guy on your on the offensive side for Orlando City. I mean, like the guy wasn't a threat, and boom, here we go. Second game in a row where we get a double yellow after years, my friends, years of not having this situation, this undiscipline that was notorious during the Adrian Heath, Jason Christ, James O'Connor era that we thought we put behind us when Oscar came in. Unnecessary, unwarranted. At that point, I already knew, threw everything out the window. Since Kyle Smith was already playing, he no longer can come from the bench to to signal that we are about to fly the white flag. So who takes that place? Our good friend Thomas Williams, who comes in, and I'm like, Thomas Williams is only coming here to do three things: protect Pedro's blind spot, sweep balls out of the way, and try to salvage the game. Our good friend Thomas Williams, excellent performance, but Williams never showcased his ball control. He never went on the attack, and certainly his passing was absent because Thomas Williams was a desperate attempt to clean the field of any attacking threats. That's all he was there for. That's what he was there for. And then we have Zachariah Taifi with his debut. Congratulations to this young man. Another player that at OCB is a attacking threat, has scored goals, has fantastic ball control, skill player. But once again, we're throwing it out there in another basically desperate attempt to hold on to the 1 point. So we have two defenders. We pulled out Luis Muriel and Martin Ojeda, and at that point, guys, at that point, I mean, I was so upset because there was no way with this battle plan that we were going into the attack. Congratulations to Duncan McGuire, who went out there. You know, he's an attacking player and he was out there defending. I know it has to be very difficult for a player that all he wants to do is score goals to get on that defensive role. But we had to salvage what, I mean, we played about 25 minutes with a man down. And to finish, Pedro Galese, once again, standing on his head. There's a controversy that we would like to address, and I just want to give the opportunity to the guys to give their thoughts on the game. It was a disaster at the end of the day. All streaks, good or bad, have an end. Hopefully, we're gonna come home and score some goals. But at the end of the day, it's the second game in a row where I feel that we left points on the table because of boneheaded decisions by a particular player. Go ahead, guys.
I mean, anybody that looks at that game, and no offense to you, David, but anybody that looks at that first half of the match, and really the entire match, and tries to say, yes, the refereeing was abysmal, we know that's going to happen. But you can't sit there and blame the draw on the official. You can't leave when you're playing the last place team in the league, not just the East, the league, a team that hasn't won a single match all season. You can't, just like my dad just commented this. You can't blame the refs if you can't score against the last place team. I was going to say that anyway. Orlando City fans love to sit here and say one judgment call. Yes, there's VAR, whatever. One judgment call, and even in VAR, it's a judgment call. Change the game. How about Muriel from essentially point blank range, not even putting the ball on frame? How about that? Nobody's blaming Muriel for that. How about Muriel just playing off, except for that one shot, basically having a disaster on the match? How about the substitutions? Taking off the one guy that's been our main attacking threat all match in Marco, and putting in and taking him out and leaving Muriel in the match. The Muriel project's over. You know, Today is April 21st, 2025. We signed him a little over a year ago. It's over. He should never see the pitch again. How about we have our left wing and Angulo gives the
Oh
ball
God.
up, gets beat by a center back. This guy's supposed to be fast. He gets beat to the ball by a center back that he had a running start on. Can't even beat him. Ball gets turned back the other way. Almost give up a goal. Same thing happened right after Santos got sent off. He jogs, kind of half jogs back. We almost give up a goal on the other end. Angulo and Muriel should not see the pitch unless we are up 8-0 on Tampa in basically a week and a half. Bring both of them down to the B team. Get rid of Muriel in the summer. We need a number 10 that's going to score. Muriel does not score the ball. Yes, he had a couple good matches where he got service right to his foot. Duncan can do that. Enrique can do that. So why are we wasting a designated player spot and all of that money on a guy that can't even do that and has no potential going forward? He's at the end of his career. He's what, 33, 34 years old now? Yes, does he look better than he did last year? Yes, but that's not saying much. But the point I'm trying to get to is we have to stop, as a fan base, blaming this one decision on the referee when we should have been absolutely dominating that match. Possession should not have been 50-50 in the first half. We should have been dominating that at least 60-40. You see the players they have out that Montreal had out there. They don't even belong on the same pitch as the majority of our players. Their class was so far below ours. There is zero reason that we didn't dominate that. Yes, I know Atuesta and Araujo is out, but it doesn't matter. Our two midfielders were doing a beautiful job in what they needed to do. The game plan going in was obviously to go for a Poppy special, try to push one in early and sit back. The third match in a row, Philadelphia, you can kind of excuse it, is Philadelphia. But the third match in a row, we've scored 0 goals. Yes, defense gave up 0 goals. Great. Pedro had a good game, good match Saturday. Great. Good thing he didn't. We would have lost 3-0. I mean, I'm so tired of Orlando City fans, and then this will make me a villain. I don't care. I'm so tired of them saying, but we didn't get a penalty call. I would love to know the percentage of calls that should be penalties, because I'm not arguing that shouldn't have been, but the number of calls across the sport that should be called penalties that aren't and aren't overturned with VAR. I guarantee you it's the vast majority are not overturned.
But you know
Unless
what it is, John, to your point, we shouldn't play to get penalties, right?
Yeah,
That's
and the
what
fans shouldn't be asking for it.
exactly.
The fans, we should be playing to win the game. We should have played to win that game. Like I said last show, 3 or 4-0. What did I also say last show? This is a chance for Montreal. We tend to play down to our opponents when we're playing a team on the schneid. Looking at comments like somebody I saw on X said Angulo should be playing left back. Angulo shouldn't see the field, like I've already said. This match made me so mad at this team and this fan base and this ownership. And kind of touching on what I said about the Poppy extension, I find it interesting that we had such a high-powered attack, and then basically 2 weeks before he signs his extension, our offense is gone. Two players don't cause players like Marco and players like Ojeda not to score. They may not score as much, but the fact that we have gone 3 matches in a row with 0 goals against two teams that should be below us, or 2 teams that are below us, and then to play the last place team as well and not score a single goal against them is beyond me.
What John said, I agree. Ditto.
I do agree as well, but and I'm not trying to make excuses, like I said, I mean for the ref, but 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 that play did happen, and that was pretty bad. Like that was pretty blatant.
Yeah, it did. But you know what it is, Misael? I mean, that's just a part of it.
No,
It's
yeah,
like,
of course, like he said,
but,
we should have handled Montreal easily.
But it's like,
I'm,
it's like,
I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, but that play did happen, and it was. I mean, that's a penalty, man. Like
I'll, I'll, I'll put
it's
it this
pretty
way.
bad.
yeah, but how many, let me ask you, how many shots did we have on goal that game? Let me see if I could look it up.
I think it was six.
Six.
I recall.
Six shots on goal.
Or I
Six.
mean, I
You know, it's like that to me, it's like we have to always go with the assumption that it's an uphill battle. Calls are going to go against us, most of them, most of the time, especially if we're Miami. Imagine if this game were
Sorry, we
against
had two.
Miami. I mean, give me a break.
well,
So
I just maybe that's
it's
why I
just
say
like
it
what
should have just
frustrates
been
me
a
with
one.
you said.
I was gonna say that's why I was saying earlier. It should have been a 1+1 extension. I don't know about this thing.
But what gets me is like on top of it, you have that whole marketing aspect where it's like 5 games undefeated. Like they're trying to hint, like they're trying to say like there's a streak starting, like there's some
Right,
consistency.
that's just to
There
get you
is
to come to the
zero
Atlanta game. That's just to
consistency
get
in
you
how we're
to,
performing right
yeah.
now. You know what I mean? Like there's no consistency in how we're performing. If anything, it's going the opposite. Like to John's point, we scored in 5 games ago, 4 games ago. In the last 3 games, we haven't scored. And here you're saying we're 5 games undefeated. Like you're not, to who? To the
Well,
people you're trying to
well,
sell tickets
well,
to? I
well,
mean, come
technically,
on.
technically we are though.
I
Well,
know, but
about the
it's a
referee, like
technicality.
you
They're not
control
lawful.
as a team, you control what you can control. And what can our team control? Putting that little round object called a soccer ball or a football into the back of that 8 by 12 rectangle at the end of the field that the opposition is defending, putting that little ball in the back of that net.
Unless they're being told to hold back.
But exactly, that's my point. Don't blame the official when our players that can that are able to control the outcome of the game aren't. Don't leave it up to the official.
Hmm. Hmm.
We don't want to win on technicality. At least
That's
I
I
don't.
don't know. Did you put the graphic up maybe? And I missed it. But that's 51 clean sheets for
Oh no, I
Pedro
didn't put
now.
it up. No. Yeah. So
Yeah.
as of this last
After the
game,
last game, it was 50, but since
yeah,
we got another one now in Montreal, it's 51 now for Pedro.
51 clean sheets.
Mm-hmm.
All
And
I
right.
mean,
on Pedro, I would like to mention this happened during the game.
Yes.
Um, there was an incident
Yeah.
where Pedro Galesa was assaulted, verbally assaulted, with racial slurs, xenophobic comments, stuff being thrown at him, to the point that the game was stopped. The league always takes this seriously. You could see that the Montreal players listened to what Pedro had to say, and at that point, it wasn't a game. It was like, "What's going on, buddy? Is everything okay?" I have to say, you know, I love talking trash to players. I love to have a good time. I yell at the ref and all that. As someone who has been a victim of people that have nothing to say about the football because they can't win on that front, they have to attack my person, the way I look, my family, my faith, my ethnicity. Uh, has no places in the game. It takes away the fun of going to the stadium, and these are professionals who are blessed with skills that most of us wish we had, and at the end of the day, they're making trying to make a living, and the last thing they need is from some drunk jerk to be screaming things about things that Pedro can't help. Pedro can't help that he was born in Peru. He can't help that he looks the way he looks, etc., etc. And people that have those views about Pedro hold the same views about their own players. It's just that since they're playing for their team, they're not gonna say anything. Despicable, disgusting. It's not the first time that the Montreal fan base, is accused of this behavior. But I guess when your team has scored 4 goals or season, where your team gets beat up, your team hasn't made playoffs in God knows how long, because all when all you do is lose, all you do is lose. You have to eat that disgusting poutine that looks like dog food. The dog threw up on his food. Maybe when you have to, engage in that behavior, then you have to talk the way you do. Unspeakable, disgusting. And to the guys that were doing this, just remember there's cameras always pointing at the crowd. You will be identified. You will be banned. And and that's sad, because at the end of the day, football should be about unity, about fun, and you are more than welcome to say what you want, but crossing the line is something that people like myself cannot stand for. Guys, if you have anything else to say, you're more than welcome to do so.
Too
Yeah, I
many Labatt Blues. Sorry,
mean,
I was said too many Labatt Blues.
Yeah, maybe.
this is the second match in a row that there's been an incident with that supporter section in Pedro. If you remember last season, they threw stuff at him, and then I believe it was the same match that they set off unauthorized smoke, and nothing, just like this one. If that happens at Orlando, whoever does it is instantly getting kicked out. Um, but the ball was on that side of the field. I always kind of look back there to see. You can tell if somebody's getting kicked out. Never saw anything from Montreal. Their security didn't seem that anybody got kicked out. Never heard an announcement over the loudspeaker. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, I mean everything David said, I know all of us agree with. But to kind of transition, unless somebody else has something to say on a positive note, Zachariah Taifi did make his debut. Congratulations to him. And put in a good, even though it was short, put in a good shift, handled them. Thomas Williams getting some more first team minutes. Everybody knows, my family are big fans of him. Made a Was tasked with the job of on free kick stopping their big number nine. Did a fantastic job on that last corner kick to make the number nine extremely uncomfortable. Didn't get bullied off the ball. So both of those young players, hats off to you guys. Great shifts during the game. And more to hopefully we see them out there a little bit more than just to kill a game off with a draw. Hopefully we see them begin to be first choice subs, because right now we're hurting for left back coming into the match this Saturday. Why not give Zachariah the start? See what he has. The dude's been killing it on OCB. We see what the last outside back we had that killed it on OCB did, and Freeman. Bring Zachariah up, give him the start, see what he can do. It's another offensive attack. Yeah, he's more of a right back, but our options are exceptionally limited right now.
And also, I want to congratulate Thomas. Played in Montreal and made it on time for Sunday morning service. For those of us that follow him on IG, that's incredible, impressive, my friend. Hey, but anyways, as you guys see, we're already hitting the 90-minute mark, but we have so much to talk about. This Saturday, all roads, my good friends, lead to 65 West Church Street.
7:55.
So, 750, I thought it was 60,
It's
60,
55.
it's 60, it's 655. Yeah, come on now.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, and OCB's
I
1000
heard
Gilback Boulevard. Come on, listen. I know these things, man.
it cut
All of
out for me.
you,
It cut out. It cut out.
that's all good, brother.
7:55.
We're gonna be facing Atlanta United. Atlanta United's coming to town after a 3-0 beatdown in Philadelphia. They are, I believe, they're 12 on the table. You
Yep.
guys correct me if
They are
I'm
sitting
wrong.
12th place with
Yes, and all I have to say about this is we have said before. First of all, this game is on Big Fox.
Oh
It's on
boy.
broadcast, Fox Network broadcast. That means local channel 35 for all of you that refuse to pay for Apple Plus. Number one, it's gonna be national audience at a good time, 7:30 on a Saturday. National audience. I think. I mean, you
Seven
can't ask.
fifteen. 7:15.
7:15. Thank you, brother. 7:15. So thank you. So I would have shown up late. And all I have to say is you gotta win the games that matter. Atlanta awful. They're failing to score. They're having their worst moment. But don't despair, Atlanta fans, because Charity FC is here to save the day. And I say that jokingly. We cannot be a charity. We cannot be a charity. This is what I want, Oscar. And I'm talking to you, Oscar. I know you're listening to this. What we need this Saturday, when at 7:15 that ball starts rolling, is we need to make a statement for the fans. For the fans. You already got the contract, right? You already got the contract. That ink's still wet, baby. Let's go win. Because if anything, Atlanta wants to avenge the humiliation they suffered last year on our pitch when we sent them home. And the fact of the matter, look, they went and spent millions. They brought Miguel Almiron from the dead. They still can't win games. I have to say, I have a bone to pick with Lizard Boy. I want him humiliated. I want him embarrassed. I want when that horde of Atlanta fans comes in draped in their 2018 championship banners and shirts and jerseys, still living in the past. 7 years. It's been 7 years. Let it go. Give it a rest. Let's go win. Let's go win us a game. Let's go score some goals, my good friends. And on top of that is it's wrestling theme night. So be there or be square.
Closing thoughts, gents.
Yeah, I mean, I said it at the beginning of the year. Cool Atlantis. I said it about Miami too, but Miami's performing a little better. But I said it about Atlanta. I said, cool, you're spending all this money on attack. What's your defense going to do? And they're kind of proving it. To me, this is for an early match in the season based on how the two teams forms. It's always a must win against Atlanta, but we need to break off the streak of no goals and consecutive draws.
Yeah.
And what better match to do it than against one of our rivals? Um, you know, like I said last week, it's a team that is everything that Orlando City and their supporters is not about. They bought their way into the league because they had a billionaire owner. Their fans showed last season and are starting to show this season. They only show up if it's a winner. They play in an atrocity of a field that's a football stadium, and kind of to top it all off, their name doesn't even make sense because in this sport, when a team's united, that means two teams came together to make one. That didn't happen with Atlanta. They pulled the name out of the hat and said, "Oh, this sounds good." Um, it's one of the matches I look forward to every year. Everybody has to show up. Zero excuses for it not being a sellout. There isn't much going on in downtown this weekend, unless there's a Magic playoff game. But even then, only so many people can go to that. The people that can't go to that can come to the better match, the better thing, and that's an Orlando City soccer game, in my opinion. Um, and be loud, show up. Like I said in the we said in social media posts, show up and show out. There's zero excuse for if you're not doing anything for you not to be there. Tickets are almost always available. Um, be there and support the boys on to a win. They acknowledge how much we help them during a match, especially a tough match. And I can't wait till Saturday.
Anybody else?
Uh, by the way, Magic game's on Friday, so no excuse to not show up on Saturday. And not much. I agree with what they said. I'm nervous because we just seem to play down to our opponents. Just go get the win.
Yeah,
How about we
Solar
just
Bears
score
are
some
made.
goals?
Yeah, Solar Bears made the playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna have. They have a game tonight. I don't know if
We're
they will
down.
advance
We're,
for
I
the
think
weekend.
I think we're down 0-2 already.
Oh, Solar Bears. Oh, God,
Yeah,
they break my
yeah,
heart every year.
yeah. It's not looking
Uh,
good.
yeah, unfortunately. Quick thing, guys. About Saturday. Like John said, let's show up and pack the house. There shouldn't be an excuse. It's a derby. We gotta show up. We can't let these guys show us that they're quote unquote better supporters. Like John said, they only show up for winners. And so far, they should have hired Rob Valentino when they had the chance. And once again, proof that you can't continue to not show love to the one guy that eliminated Miami when nobody else would. With no designated players, a dilapidated old roster, he managed to do that. And the only thing that was in between him and a conference final was Orlando City. So imagine that. I want to also mention that Orlando City rumors are interested in a German-born Kosovan player by the name of Donis Fitjai. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly. We don't have enough Williams and Smiths in our club, unfortunately, as of late. This young man is taking his talents down in the Austrian Superliga with TSV Hartberg. And, he played with the national team with Germany and Kosovo. And interesting, he's an attacking player. That means somebody's on the move or somebody it's about to be sit down. I agree with John's assessment. In my opinion, the Luis Muriel experiment has come to an end. We have to score goals, and we can't continue to have a young man like Duncan Maguire, a white shark out for blood, sitting on the bench, but we allowed Luis Muriel to miss sitters and then do that, oh man, or grimacing, like, no, I'm sorry. You're making
Sardunkel.
$4 million. Four large, baby. You better score. You know what Luis Muriel should do for $4 million?
What? Oh boy, here we go.
He should be parking everybody's car, getting us drinks with the umbrella on, ice, and seasoning our food for $4 million. Let me tell you something. I'm sorry, my friends. He had a hot
Be more
start.
used to doing that for the club than what he's been doing.
My goodness, listen. What we should have done was to allow him to go to juniors in Colombia when he begged us to release him. But that's a story for another day. I know.
One thing
Listen,
I do have to correct David on about the Atlanta Championship in 2018. You have to remember to put an asterisk on that because they were caught cheating that season by breaking salary.
the roster rules. We get it. We know that. Listen, at the end of the day, we have to win, and this Saturday is gonna be that game. I plan to be there with two of my kids. So let's go and support the boys.
Yes.
Guys, final thoughts before we call it a night.
Score a
Quick,
goal.
quick,
Score a goal.
yeah. Quick correction. Wrestling night is May 10th versus New England,
Oh, my
not this time.
apologies then.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that's it. I guess.
Yeah. Final thought. Score a goal or two
Score
or three.
goals.
Yeah.
Start dunking.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna leave you the only way we know how, reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper or on turf. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck. And if you have not cried for joy or anger over football, have you really footballed? For Misael, John, David, and myself, may God bless you. And as always, vamos, Orlando!